You are holding a coin that millions ignored, but only a few truly understood, a coin that traveled through time carrying stories of a changing America. The 1968 Washington quarter might look ordinary, but behind its silver-free surface lies a hidden history of shifting mint policies, rare errors, and collectible value that could surprise even seasoned coin hunters. What makes this post-silver quarter special? Why do collectors chase certain 1968 varieties? And how can a simple pocket find turn into a rare treasure? If you have ever wondered what secrets an old quarter can hold, then this deep dive will reveal everything about the 1968 Washington quarter, from its production challenges to the mintmark mysteries to the high-grade auctions and market value. In this full 2-hour journey, we uncover the true story behind this iconic coin and why it still matters today. The year was 1968, and America stood at a crossroads, a time of war protests, civil rights movements, and political turmoil. And in the middle of it all, the United States Mint continued its work, producing coins that would quietly pass through the hands of millions. The Washington quarter, already a familiar sight since its debut in 1932, returned again, but this time with important differences that would shape its place in numismatic history forever. This is the story of the 1968 Washington quarter, a coin that may seem common at first glance but holds deeper value for those who know where to look. To begin with, we must look at the history of the Washington quarter itself. Originally struck in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first president of the United States, the coin was designed by sculptor John Flanagan. It featured a left-facing profile of Washington on the obverse along with the word liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," and the date. The reverse displayed a heraldic eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows and olive branches, symbolizing both war and peace for decades. This design would remain consistent and recognizable across America. The 1968 quarter came just 3 years after a major turning point in U.S. coinage. In 1965, the mint removed silver from dimes and quarters and began using a copper-nickel-clad composition. The reason was simple. Rising silver prices made it too expensive to continue striking circulating coins with real silver. The Coinage Act of 1965 effectively ended the use of 90% silver in most U.S. coins, including the Washington quarter. The new composition featured an inner core of pure copper, with outer layers of copper-nickel, which gave it a similar appearance to silver, but without the intrinsic metal value. This brings us to the important technical details of the 1968 Washington quarter. The coin weighs 567 grams and has a diameter of 243 millimeters. Its reeded edge remained unchanged, and its metallic composition consisted of an inner copper core and an outer layer made of 75% copper and 25% nickel. It retained the same design by Flanagan, though subtle. Differences and die variations over the years introduced interesting varieties for collectors to pursue. Now we must talk about where the 1968 quarters were minted, and how many were produced. The year 1968 marked the return of mintmarks to United States coins, after being absent from 1965 to 1967. Due to the mint trying to discourage coin hoarding, in those years, collectors were frustrated because they could not tell where a coin was made. But in 1968, mintmarks returned, and that made this year's quarters even more interesting. There were 3 main mints involved in producing the 1968 quarters: Philadelphia, which traditionally had no mintmark; Denver, which used the D mintmark; and San Francisco, which struck proof coins with the S mintmark. Philadelphia produced no mintmark business strike coins in huge numbers, but most circulating coins from 1968 came from Denver. In total, the Denver Mint struck over 101 million quarters that year. These are marked with a small d on the obverse to the right of Washington's ponytail. Meanwhile, San Francisco struck over 3 million proof quarters for collectors. Only these featured the S mintmark and were carefully made with polished dies and planchets to create a mirror-like finish. Most 1968 S quarters were included in proof sets sold directly to collectors and never intended for circulation. These proof coins have a special place in the collector market, especially those in pristine condition. But not all 1968 quarters are the same. And this is where things get truly fascinating for coin enthusiasts. Collectors have discovered that some 1968 quarters have unique characteristics that can make them far more valuable than face value. For example, some coins struck with worn dies show doubling or other anomalies, especially in the lettering or numbers. Such varieties are known as doubled die, obverses or reverses, though no major confirmed doubled die. Varieties are known for 1968 quarters. Some minor ones exist and are actively sought by specialists. Another important consideration is condition and grade coins that were well preserved straight from the mint or stored properly for decades can fetch significantly higher prices in the collector market. Grading companies like PCGS and NGC evaluate coins based on factors like strike luster and surface preservation. The highest grade most modern clad quarters can achieve is MS-70, or perfect mint state. Though this is extremely rare for 1968 quarters, most high-grade examples fall in the MS-65 to MS-67 range, and these can sell for many times their face value at auction. Take for instance a 1968 D Washington quarter-graded MS-68 by PCGS, which once sold for over $3,000 due to its exceptional quality and rarity at that level. For clad coins from this era, such sales are rare, but demonstrate that high-end collectors are willing to pay a premium for top-quality coins, even if the original face value was just 25 cents. Proof quarters from San Francisco also have their own collector following, especially when designated as cameo or deep cameo. A cameo proof coin has frosted raised elements and a mirrored background, while a deep cameo has even more dramatic contrast. These special finishes are desirable and command higher prices. A deep cameo 1968 S quarter in PR69 or PR70 condition can sell for hundreds of dollars, especially when certified by a reputable grading service. There are also error coins from 1968 that command interest among numismatists. Error coins can occur during the minting process and include such issues as off-center strikes, clipped, planchets, broad strikes, and die caps. These mistakes were usually caught and destroyed, but some made it into circulation and now represent rare finds for collectors. An off-center 1968 quarter, especially if significantly misaligned, can sell for a good amount, depending on the severity and overall eye appeal. Moving beyond errors and varieties, the historical context of the 1968 quarter adds another layer of depth to its story. The late 1960s were a time of cultural upheaval and transformation in the United States, from the Vietnam War to the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. and Robert Kennedy, from the protests on college campuses to the rise of counterculture. Every object from that era carries echoes of those turbulent times. Coins included. When you hold a 1968 quarter, you are holding a piece of that history, a coin that witnessed gas stations selling fuel for less than $1 a coin that may have bought a candy bar at a corner store or paid for a phone call at a public booth. Collectors today often overlook the importance of the 1968 quarter because it lacks the silver content of its predecessors. But in truth, this coin represents a vital link between the past and the modern era of American coinage. It is a bridge from the age of precious metals to the age of practicality. A time, though, when the United States had to adapt its monetary system to changing economic realities and public expectations. Beyond the individual coin values lies the joy of collecting itself. For many people, searching for rare and valuable quarters is not just about profit but about curiosity, exploration, and connecting with the past. The 1968 Washington quarter is a perfect coin to start or expand a collection because it is still found in circulation, yet contains layers of history and potential that can inspire a lifelong interest in numismatics. To wrap up the story of the 1968 quarter is to look at a coin that did more than just serve in commerce. It stood at the center of a national shift in how coins were made. It marked the return of mint marks after a strange period of anonymity. It introduced a generation of collectors to clad coinage, and it continues to spark curiosity and admiration among those who understand its place in history. Whether you find one in your change or in a carefully preserved roll, this quarter remains a timeless piece of American heritage and numismatic wonder. So the next time you come across a 1968 Washington quarter, take a closer look. Examine the mintmark study, the HA. Details inspect for signs of error or high-grade preservation, because what you hold may be more than a coin. It may be a key to unlocking stories and values that stretch far beyond 25 cents and into the realm of American history.